New concerns are being raised tonight about the $10 a day daycare program.
Some childcare center operators are warning parents they may pull out of the program. CTV's Queens Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris reports.
It's a program that's been helping parents with the heavy burden of childcare. But in the last few weeks, parents with kids in for-profit centers have been put on notice.
It was devastating to see a letter like that.
Letters warning their centers may pull out of the National Child Care Program, potentially doubling fees.
At that point, it's not worth it for one of my wife or I to work. What message is that sending for my wife? Because she would probably be the one to stay home with the kids.
The letters come ahead of a tweaked funding formula that takes effect in the new year. Some private operators argue it will leave them with less flexibility and decision-making power. While childcare advocates agree the transition isn't an easy one.
To go as far as saying, they're going to pull out of the program or close down a center or put parent fee reductions at risk, I think is not reasonable.
Fern says it's part of an organized campaign, putting pressure on governments through parents.
Let's keep the revenue replacement model, but let us raise our fees. Well, no, that's the entire point of what we're doing here.
Heather Kay wasn't entirely surprised to receive one of these letters from the center that cares for her two kids. But she's confused since there's been government funding to top up pay and reduce fees.
There's a disconnect here. I don't want to say who's telling the truth, but as a parent, it's hard to sort of get to the bottom of what's happening.
Governments are pointing fingers at each other.
Okay.
Ontario's education minister says she empathizes with parents and writes in part, Ottawa must provide more funding, lift the cap on for-profit providers, and give more flexibility so that providers can cover their costs and create necessary spaces. Meantime, Ottawa accuses Ontario of dragging its feet on announcing the funding formula and on creating new spaces. The federal minister firm on prioritizing not-for-profit centers, writing, "We've seen what happens when we privatize health care. It leads to increased costs, unequal access, and disparity in quality. It wouldn't be fair to parents or our children to let the same happen with our national child care system." Not the kind of collaboration parents had been hoping for.
Parents need clarity.
We need all levels of government to kind of figure out, this existential crisis together.
Siobhan Morris, CTV News.